found a picture.
Oh, you found it. That's
So,
crazy that you guys are alive.
welcome everybody. So excited to be here today and excited for tonight's presentation. I had this vision or this download, should I say, a couple weeks ago of, we've done so many different topics over the last 3 years where we talk about different tissues, different organs, different systems, different conditions. We've never really spent one episode talking about the life inside a single cell. So that was the motivation for today. As you can see, I've already shared my screen with this accident picture. This was, um, gosh, 28 years ago going on, 27 years ago. And I was a hot mess for 17 years. It took every bit of energy and perspiration to fight to get my abilities back. Doctors all told me that I would be in a wheelchair the rest of my life. Just deal with it, stop trying to fight it. And I'm so happy I didn't listen to them because 11 years ago, I got all my abilities back out of my chair. The same year I met Sherry and Jack, and the same year redox was introduced to me. I had already had several great breakthroughs that year, and then this was just icing on the cake. It allowed me to truly regain my life. Things that everybody said I would never do again. I moved out to Colorado. I got dirt biking and skiing and golfing and mountain biking and hiking and literally all these adventure things that I used to love to do, and I got to do them again. It's the redox molecules now for almost 10 years that kept me out of my chair, that keep my symptoms at bay, provided I take the right amount and do it every single day. It's not something that I can even let the foot off the gas a little bit, or I feel my old injuries start to resurface again. So I don't care. I figured out, I cracked the code on how to make me better and make me function. And I guess that's why I'm known as the good news doctor. You can talk about conditions and the problems that everybody has, but you're not labeled as your condition. And the problems that you have now don't have to be your problems tomorrow and next year. Your body is always fighting to find a new version of each and every cell in your body. And if you take care of your body a little bit better, give it the resources to be able to make a better cell, hey, guess what? It's going to be able to do that. So today's talk is going to really help you understand how our cells work, why redox even plays a role inside the cell. We know it plays a role in every function of every aspect of our body, but what are the functions actually inside the cell that I should be concerned about? That I would want to take redox molecules to be able to help those functions happen better. Well, that's what tonight is all about. And so let's go ahead and begin this. All right. So as I mentioned, and as Sherry mentioned, this is a cellular expedition. I saw a movie years ago called Inner Space with Dennis Quaid. And in this movie, he got shrunk down to the size of a red blood cell, injected into Dennis Short, and went around talking about the inside of his body, was communicating back, and it was very funny. And I was thinking about that, like, oh, why can't we do that? Why can't we shrink everybody down, get inside the body, and then take a look around the cell? I could literally do 3-hour lecture on all the function that's going on in the cell. Don't worry, it's only gonna be about 15 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try to keep it short and tight and right to the point. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get in our little spacecraft, and we're gonna fly towards the Earth. And then as soon as we get into the atmosphere, something special in this craft is going to shrink you down into a microscopic size of a cell. So with that, let's begin our journey. Get ready for it. There you go. And so as you're shrinking down to the size of atoms and molecules, you still feel the same, but now the world looks different. You're looking at single cells of the body, and they look like a globe and a planet all in itself. That's the amazing thing. There's so much going on inside our cells. It could be a single universe all in itself. So we're going to talk about different structures that we see inside our cells, and we're going to be talking about redox signaling molecules. That's all the light that you're seeing activity that's going on. Redox molecules are like all the workers in the city that are getting the job done. So we're going to go through and talk about all these different structures and different things that are going on in the cell. The first thing is the cytoplasm. This is basically the fluid inside the cell. Think of it like it's actually salt water. So think of it like the ocean. It's the saline that you get when you go to the hospital and they give you a bag to hydrate you. And literally, without that fluid inside the cells, the cell couldn't function at all. Think of having a fish tank and then you have all these beautiful fish and coral and plants in there, and then you drain the water. Doesn't look like a pretty fish tank anymore. It looks like a bunch of dead fish and everything laying on the ground. Okay, so your cells would be the same way without fluid. And so, being that water is the number one nutrition deficiency in the world, we all need to drink more water. Okay, water makes that happen. Now, there is something called redox molecules that are the active components of making things turn on and off and making every function actually happen inside the cells. They're going to produce energy in the form of ATP. They're going to create an antioxidant defense system. They're going to signal all the other parts of the cells to tell them what's going on and what they're doing. They're going to have a protein function in creating proteins. This is kind of important, seeing as every cell in your body has to have proteins, vitamins, and minerals. And of course, redox molecules are going to regulate that metabolic response, all of the energy production and expenditure that's happening inside our cell to metabolize sugars and oxygen and turn them into energy. All of that is a beautiful function of redox molecules. But we have to have the fluid in there in order for that to work. Next, we're going to talk about the mitochondria. The mitochondria are these little jelly bean looking characters, and they are producing our redox molecules. This is happening in every cell of your body, and these are the molecules that make energy and that make everything happen for you. So when your mitochondria are healthy, you're singing a happy tune, they're dancing, they got plenty of energy. The place is clean, it's thriving, it's functioning, but guess what? We all get old. And when we get old, we get a little lazy, and our mitochondria get a little lazy too. They don't have as much energy, as much oomph, and they're just not producing the redox that we used to produce when we were young. So, this is a very important factor when we're talking about the function of our cells. Everything starts with mitochondria. If we're not having a healthy mitochondria, we can't make energy and we can't signal. These are two very important things that are crucial for our development. Now, an interesting fact, these mitochondria have their own DNA. They're not even part of your DNA. Every other part of that cell came from the best version of you, but our mitochondria are like little aliens and they can self replicate and they can turn it on and turn it off when they need to. And when the siren is going that I need energy, they start to produce more. But here's the thing, we lose how many of these we have with age. So no matter how healthy the one is, if you don't have enough of them to produce energy, you're just not going to have what you've had when you were younger. Hence why when we age, we our tissue changes and we look older. Yeah, that's the thing. And it's just because we've had less redox molecules at the end of the state. At the end of the day, it's because lack of redox molecules continually getting lower causes that aging to actually happen faster. Then when we looked inside the cell, we saw these other little characters, and that's called the endoplasmic reticulum. It's just right around the nucleus in the middle of the cell. You'll see some more pictures, and I'll point it out again in a moment. But this is super important because this is where we make proteins. Now we have over 250,000 proteins that we can make, and we need to have the right amount of amino acids to do that. And then we need to actually create them in this structure. How cool is that? And not just create the protein, we need to fold the protein. And that's what this part of the cell is known for, is folding the protein, taking a linear chain of amino acids, and then just like the clown folding a balloon animal, we fold it in this reticulum to make it into a 3D structure. And then that makes it active. So it's super important that we can make the proteins. If we can't make the proteins, we can't create our DNA. And that is actually critical for our cells to actually know who we are and to get the best version of those cells. But besides just the folding of the proteins and the creation of them, it's also producing lipids. These are fats. This is cholesterol. Now, some people say, oh, cholesterol is bad. No, cholesterol is good. Your body needs fats. Okay, you don't need sugars as much as you think you do, but you definitely need the fats and you produce those lipids in the actual cell. And we use this same structure in the cell to detox drugs out of your body. It's part of the process of breaking it down. And it also is our major storage unit of calcium within the cell. We have to keep that sodium and potassium balance. Otherwise, the membranes and the channels won't open up and we can't get the nutrients in and remove the toxins out of our cells. So that calcium is super important. So think of the endoplasmic reticulum as the quality control manager of the cell. It's what's keeping that homeostasis and regulating it. Then we have the nucleus. Nucleus is the center. And as we come up to the nucleus, all of these, the maze looking thing right around the side, right around the edge of the stage, let's just say this is like a concert stage. The maze is the endoplasmic reticulum. That's where we're making proteins. And then the nucleus there is where a lot of redox activity happens. We literally bring redox into that nucleus to copy what our DNA says. We grab proteins from the outside structure there that we just made them, combine it with our DNA or with our redox molecules, and we literally will build the next version of you. It's these molecules and proteins transcribe themselves into your beautiful DNA. And hopefully it's a better version than the one that's currently present. You can take enough copies of this to find one back from your teens if you have enough redox. Think of redox in the nucleus like a copy machine. And the more redox you have, the more copies I can make to find a better version. Versus, I don't have so many, I'm going to have to just get what I can get and make a copy of a copy rather than finding an original. And so the nucleus plays a huge role in that. In fact, it's how we make every cell. Stem cell comes by, we transcribe that DNA, boom, we attach it to the stem cell, now we have a new cell, and it's going to have a lifespan too. But the better version of the next cells you have, this is why you find so many breakthroughs the longer you're on this product. These molecules are truly amazing. The next thing that's important to understand about how we use redox molecules, it's literally to be able to open and close channels, to be able to get nutrients and oxygen in and out of the cells, the sodium and the potassium. If we don't have redox to keep cleaning the receptors and activating the release and activating the entry, we don't have much activity going on. Think of it as it's also the gatekeeper, that helps things process and happen. Then, of course, we have to have an antioxidant system inside our cells as well as outside. We take all these antioxidants, know that it helps immunity. Well, what does it do in the cell? Well, again, we're producing these molecules inside our cells from the mitochondria, and they are forming what we call reactive oxygen species and reactive hydrogen species. And so there is a constant balance of positive and negative electrons being made to neutralize and to donate things within inside the cell. It's how we exchange energy and information. So if too many negative electrons are building up inside your cell, that can be dangerous. So your mitochondria produces hydrogen, and that hydrogen is a positive electron. So it's going to neutralize and keep things back to balance. Now, what if on the other side we have too many positive electron molecules building up in that space? Either one, positive or negative, is creating what's called oxidative stress. They've lost the bond, we're oxidized, and now these guys are free and they're acting radical. And they're going to cause damage if you don't neutralize them. Don't worry, you don't have to think about it. This happens in a cellular level that's 200 times thinner than a piece of hair. Okay, it's so tiny you can't see it. But we are going to produce, somebody unmuted, we are going to produce oxygen species to neutralize that positive electron, and then that's going to bring homeostasis back. So there is nothing more than all these chemical reactions that are constantly taking place, donating electron, getting an electron, donating, getting, donating, getting. It's a constant exchange to keep the fluids and the activity happening in our cell. It's called oxidative stress when it gets too far one way. And then as we try to correct it, we can create inflammation going the other way. And so there's this delicate balance. And in fact, that's the only two kinds of stress that a cell will ever feel: being oxidized, stripped away, or inflamed. Too much pressure, too much fluid in here. I can't do anything with it. And so both of those, we're making these molecules to neutralize that. So it's nothing more than positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, going on a billion times inside each of your cells every second or two. Okay, this is so fast and it's so fleeting. Our body can't store them for when we're going to need them down the road, even an hour from now after I eat. It's not going to store them. It's just going to have to make more when I do that. And depending on how I eat, it feels like it can just make it at this pace. If I eat really bad, oh, we got to make more. We got to catch up. This is going to just start destroying our body. It's going to start causing all this oxidative stress. So when we don't have a balance of the positive and negative, what happens is one of those charges gains and it just steals our battery away. Okay. And so that's it. Like, what does oxidative stress cause? I don't feel it. No, you don't. You're stealing your body's batteries away. And now you don't have the energy to fight back. And then what happens is you have different angry cells come in and they start degenerating and oxidizing your tissues. This is what oxidation looks like. It's not a pretty thing. It's literally stripping and deteriorating your tissues away. And so your body realizes that it's going to fall apart. You're going to lose the tissue if it can't stop that process. So what does it do? It makes redox molecules, neutralize, neutralize, neutralize. That's just a buildup of too many electrons one way or the other. So when we think of what are redox molecules in action? Oh, they're fleeting. It's a spark. It's a signal. You see the little arrow. You see the fireworks. Ooh, that was pretty, but it's gone. It's fleeting. These molecules are in constant action, running around the inside of our cells, causing things to happen. Whatever those little parts of the cells are that we're talking about, they don't do anything without redox. We've said this in pretty much every talk for 3 years, but redox are the workers that turn things on, turn things off, clean things up, remodel, repair, rebuild. All of those processes are with redox. And so these are little tiny molecules. It's nothing more than electrons spinning around a molecule that's creating energy. And when those electrons are out of balance, this causes confusion. This causes breakdown of things. The big picture of redox signaling in human health, it's all about cell communication and homeostasis. Your body wants to stay in this neutral area where all the vital signs are happy, and now all the energy it's producing can go to heal the body. But if you're not in homeostasis, all the energy you're making is trying to bring you to homeostasis, nothing to heal. You're just trying to survive. Your body will much prefer to survive over healing, and it's going to make that a priority. Oxidative stress and balance, that's the big picture. It's not just the in one cell, it's every cell of your body. We have to maintain that oxidative stress. There is no other way to do it this efficiently. You can take antioxidants, but that's like giving you a fire extinguisher. If I'm only one fireman, meaning I'm Mr. Redox, the fireman, and you give me 1,000 fire extinguishers, I can only use two, one for each hand. The rest is called top heavy, not helpful. You need to have the workers in an abundance, and then you can give a lot more of those fire extinguishers, and they can all go out and actually get the job done. Cellular defense and repair. It's the first line of defense. Redox molecules, identifying who's here, not let you in. Is it damaged? We need to fix this. We need to get the damaged tissue out, bring the new tissue in. All of that is redox expressions. The gene expression and protein function. We just talked about that. We're taking proteins, adding them with redox, and creating our DNA off copies of it that the redox is actually making from the original DNA. That is super important. All of our immune response and regulation, as well as just slowing down aging. You can live a reckless life, and that aging and the amount of redox you can produce, it's going to get depleted very, very quickly. Or you can try to start doing the right things most of the time. Every now and then you got to challenge yourself. But most of the time you do the right things and your body will do the right healing. It's amazing how that works. Garbage in, garbage out. Good stuff in, good stuff out. That's the outcome for you there. And so when it comes down to what is ASEA now? And we've been talking about how our body's making all these redox molecules. Are you saying that we have redox molecules that I could take when my body can't make enough? That's exactly what we were saying. No, but the world said, no, that's impossible. The scientists, the physicists said, nah, you can't do that. That's impossible. But guess what? ASEA figured it out. The same molecules that are coming out of that mitochondria that are fleeting, that last a trillionth of a second and they're gone, they figured out how to stabilize it and then how to keep it outside the body. And that was the breakthrough that is truly one of the best medical breakthroughs of our lifetime. And so here's how we do it. They take the pristine saline, like your body makes for itself in every cell that we just mentioned. They put it through these machines that have 7 patents and 7,000 intellectual secrets because they don't want anybody to know how they actually did it. And they were able to dissolve the sodium chloride down to the 4 molecules, hydrogen, oxygen, sodium chloride, and roll them up a much bigger hill than it took to break them apart. And they figured out miraculously how to stabilize it there for up to 2 years outside your body. That's just astonishing if you can fathom what I'm actually saying. And so how does that happen? Well, the sodium is not like table salt. This is the same sodium that's protecting the hydrogen. And the chloride is protecting the oxygen and matching with it to keep it stable. So you're not going to have excess salt in your body. It doesn't work that way. It's only used to stabilize that hydrogen until you use it, and then they're vanished out. They're all used up. And so this is what ASEA is. They've been able to take that pristine saline and make it into 4 molecules that stay independent from each other. That's the impossible part. Positive and negative electrons in the same medium, they neutralize each other. That's called physics. That's what redox does. How are these not neutralizing each other in the bottle before I drink it? Doesn't make any sense. Well, it took an atomic nuclear physicist to figure that out, and thank God he did, because that's why we have this product and why it's stable and it can bring so much life back to our bodies. It's like getting an overhaul of trading all of the old workers that have been there for 40 years in for a bunch of 25-year-olds with all sorts of energy and all sorts of fresh knowledge of the latest research and everything else that they would know coming out of college at this point. This is what we're adding to our body, the ability to be able to have these available, to utilize these, neutralize that stress, neutralize the inflammation as fast as it's happening, and live a much healthier life. What a concept. And so the conclusion, as I return everybody back to normal size again, is these molecules are something that each and every one of us can consume. And when we do that, we're going to start taking the battery of life that's slowly losing that charge, and we're going to reverse that and bring this back to a much more youthful version of yourself. that responds faster, that adapts better, that has more resilience and more life coming out of those cells. So that's what we're all about. And these amazing molecules are available in several forms. We have a very focused, concentrated one that's for targeted discomfort relief and recovery. That's down one pathway. And then these other ones are global function. All cells, all function. From the drink that we consume to literally create that cascading effect and bring these molecules into every one of your 70 trillion cells. And that has the most impact. That was our flagship product, and it's the product that still changes the most lives around the world. The gels we have here are twice as concentrated as the liquid, and that's to go on the skin to help remodel the skin, any skin issue, cuts, burns, rashes, um, blisters, what have you. This is going to help. It takes 28 days to remodel your skin, and it remodels it from underneath and then comes up. So this is going to go deep under that skin into the layers where you're making new skin and help you make a much better version than the current one that you're having. And then the serum is 4 times as strong. That's for face, really fine skin. And then there's a mask that can actually open up those pores and pull more dirt and oil and grease out of your skin. So these molecules are truly transforming. I have been taking supplements and eating healthy my entire life. My parents were very into nutrition and longevity, and I honestly can say this is the favorite thing that I take. It is my alpha product. It's the one thing that I certainly can't live without now that I've had it and I've come so far with it. It's priceless. And for many of you, you may or may not even take supplements. It doesn't matter. This isn't anything like the supplements that you're used to taking, meaning proteins, vitamins, and minerals. This is a signaling supplement. So this isn't going to become the brick and mortar of your cells. This is literally how all the cells in your body communicate. And so when it comes to our health, communication first, blood flow second. And this is an intricate part of our vascular system because it's lined, all these molecules are lining the surface, and it's the intelligence of our vascular system. So for those of you that are new, we have 3 years of talks, different topic every week almost. And find things that are interesting to you or things that you and your family and your loved ones are dealing with. And then get to the person that brought you to this episode and find out how you can see some of those other episodes because it really is transforming. And sometimes you just need to hear it from a different person, a different way for it to click and have it like hold weight in you now, like you understand it. It's one thing to hear that you should do something and it helps you, and you're like, okay, I obviously need help, and yes, I should probably do that, but never actually take action or do anything. There's a lot of us on this call that were told about this, maybe more than once, and were stubborn and didn't want to hear it, but then eventually came around and then they're like, wow, why didn't you tell me about this earlier? I'm like, I've been telling you about that for 3 years. What do you mean? Like, oh, well, you didn't say it that way and I didn't get it. And so it's just a bandwidth thing. Either people are in the space where they want to have a better version of themselves and they want to do the best and they don't want to age. They just want their life to sustain feeling great. Okay, that takes a little intent and it definitely takes discipline. And the discipline in this case is take this every day. It's not a once in a while when I'm feeling bad, I'm going to load up on some redox. Obviously, that would help, but daily is how you're changing your life. And this is how you're reversing aging. You have to stay on top of it because even though it lasts 2 hours, 2 years in the bottle, it lasts a few seconds in your mouth. As soon as it comes into your mouth, you're going to hold it there for about 15 seconds. 85% of those molecules have already absorbed, gone into your brain, gone into your blood, gone everywhere. And so it's fast acting and it's truly life changing. So with that, I just want to say that our we get an opportunity every once in a while to tap into something that is so much more profound than just me. Okay, this has the ability to truly change the world. Sherry and Jack and I have been sharing this for almost a decade now, and the amount of lives that have been transformed because somebody shared it to me and somebody shared it with Jack and Sherry, it's unimaginable how many people we can impact with something that's so pure and so real, and it's very tangible. These are things that you're going to understand. The more you understand what it is, the more you appreciate it. And you just have to be consistent and make sure you're taking enough. The older we get, unfortunately, the more you need to take because we're not making as much of these molecules. And so it's a direct ratio. There's not a person on the planet that's immune from losing their mitochondria or that this doesn't apply to. And fortunately, there's also not a person on the planet that this will not work for, meaning your body makes this. It's the same molecules that every cell of your body is dependent on to function and to thrive. So it's not having to wonder what it is. It's like, what are you doing in my mouth? You're supposed to be over here, here, and here. And it just sends it on its way to get busy doing what it needs to do. So I look forward to those that are new to this, to hearing and seeing what your life is like in 30 days. And in really 90 days, you're going to have the greatest results. Just be consistent. Don't worry about it. It'll work. It doesn't, you don't have to want it to work. It's going to work, and it's going to radically change things. It might not change the first symptom that you want it to change because it has a priority neurologically, what's important first to help you get that leg up on healing. It all boils down to the fact that you only make so much of this a day, and so much of us are exhausting all of it just to keep up with the crazy lifestyle that we have. Now we have the extra. So I can continue to do my crazy lifestyle, but I can repair now and I can catch up on some of the healing that I just don't get because I don't have enough balance. This is an amazing product. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to come learn, and I'm going to go ahead and pass that back to Sherry.